Hi, this is Nashville Songwriters Association Executive Director Bart Herbison for the Nashville Tennessean. And this week, the story behind the song, and in part of this interview, you're going to see somebody we did a few weeks ago, fellow Hall of Fame songwriter Bobby Braddock. But this week, our guest is Hall of Fame songwriter Curly Putman, and the song is Green, Green Grass of Home.
Have golden lips like cherries. It's good to touch the green, green grass of home.
It's been recorded 700 times.
The co-writer would have messed that one up, Curly.
Yeah, anybody would. Nobody wanted to get in on that. But no, they claim that I'm. It's hard to keep.
Well,
up
let's
with
talk
700.
about it. It's Porter, it's Bobby Bear, it's Elvis,
Johnny
it's
Darrell, the first guy,
and I mean on and on and on. Tom Jones,
Jerry Lee Lewis.
I think Engelbert did it, didn't he? It's on and on and on. But
Elvis. Final.
Well, let's talk about the day you wrote it. Do you remember that day? Because I think it happened pretty quick on a Sunday.
Yeah, I'd had the song in my mind, and like I say, I had seen a movie called Asphalt Jungle where this old country boy had agreed to go with this group, this bunch of robbers and rob a bank so he could get him some money to get home, which was back in the country somewhere, I don't know. But and it was Sterling Hayden, the guy. He's an older actor, and so anyhow, I'd had that in my mind that about him getting. I mean, that touches you. Hear the guy, he'll go to all lengths of things to get what he wants and what he needs, which is to get home. I mean, just get out of this rat race in New York or wherever he was at. So it ended up that he was back home and the law was after him. And they shot him and killed him, and up on the hill, there was a big old two-story, in my mind now, house, white house, the paint cracked and dry, which I used in a line in it. And he made it back home, but he didn't quite get there, you know. But the emotions of that really is what hit me as much as anything. And then the dream part at the end, when I wake and look around me.
One of the best plot twists
That is
in anything ever created.
That was to me helped make that song, because I said all this other myself even. Like it was happening, and then at the last, I thought I'd written another song at one time, and it had it where a guy had dreamed something. So at the last, I got to thinking, well, what about all of this? He's talking about coming home to Mama, and they're going to believe that I didn't do anything. He's an innocent guy, and the sweetheart's waiting for him. And so when I got to that part, and I thought, then I wake and look around me, and there's four gray walls. So he's here in a cell, and he's waiting for a sad old padre to come and lead him. You don't ever see what he's done.
Doesn't have to.
And so they lead him off, you know.
We know it wasn't forging the check.
But anyhow, that made the song, I think. That surprised, to me, a surprise ending, which everybody thought it was really happening, and then all of a sudden you say, then I awaken and look around me, so it kind of said, well, what and then the old padre leading him off, praying for him, and then he's again going to touch the green grass of home, and they'll all come out to see him underneath the shade of the old oak tree where they played and where he's and that gets all of the home, mama, family, sweetheart. That gets all of that into the fact that they come out to see him, watch him bury him, I guess. So that's another way of handling morbid things, which.
But I'd like to inject something in by what Curly just said there about them about Buddy talking about it was not the type of song that was getting recorded then. I think all these songs that we're talking about, He Stopped Loving Today, Curly's Green Green Grass at Home, DIVORCE. I think of songs of mine like I Want to Talk About Me, which was a rap song, or People Are Crazy. These are songs that were not, I mean, like Green Green Grass at Home, they were not anything like the songs that were playing on the radio at that time. So often, I hear people do it now. I've heard people do it for however many years it's been in Nashville, more than I would admit. Said, but that's not what people are doing now. Well, you know what? If you make too much out of that, then you might get something very original and never write it and then be discouraged. I mean,
And they're the songs that 2 years later everybody was trying to do something like that. So I think they're great songs.
yeah. Well, anyone who's hearing these words, if you have something you think it is, if people think it's really obtuse, if people think that it's just too far out, it's not like what people are doing now. If you believe in it, don't let them discourage you from that. You know.
I think that
Sometimes-
makes them notice it. I think that makes people notice the song more, except it may be harder at that time to get it recorded because they're a little bit skeptical. And it was with He Stopped Loving Her Today with Jim Viano, I think, cut it with Bobby Russell, was it? He had a cut on it.
No, what was that guy's name? He was a really good songwriter. He wrote "They're Gonna Put" Johnny Russell.
Johnny, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Johnny Russell cut it
I
twice.
said Bobby.
Wow.
But
Well, it found its right way.
but our mutual friend Michael Kosser once told me he had written an article about me. He said, when you reach for the stars, sometimes you can fall in the garbage heap. You know, which is true. I mean, if you want to do something that's really stands out, if you're aiming for greatness, you might end up in the dumpster. But that's just a chance that you have to take.
Well, back on Green Green Grass, Buddy wasn't going to demo it, but you were at a session one day, and somebody else being late was a lucky day for you.
That's
wasn't
right. It's not that they don't like the song. It's like when I showed it to Buddy, he knows the song and he knows what's happening in the business. He said, "Well, it's a kind of a down home type. That's what we use, down home type song, and it's just not happening right now." And I said, "Well, I agree." And so. The way it wound up on demo was that kind of by accident, you might say. And we were doing a demo with Dottie West, and I helped with demos back then. And so we had the band all sitting there in that old Owen Bradley bar, studio.
Hut.
Quantum, yeah. They were all just sitting there waiting around for Dottie to show up. Dale Reeves had already sang one of her songs, a guy song that she needed. And Dottie wasn't there yet. It wasn't, it wasn't no big deal that she was just late. And I thank her. But I said, "Buddy, how about I was doing this Green Grass at Home thing?" He looked around, all these band members were just sitting there waiting, He said, "All right, go ahead." And so Kelso was Hurston, one of my good producer friends back in those early days, which I said, "Kelso West," told him the key, and he just kind of vamped a intro. It wasn't like, "It's so good." So So he vamped an intro, and I sang it and did it. You did one time. There wasn't no back then. There wasn't no going back
Right.
and fixing anything. So we did it, and I pitched it around like we did. He stopped loving her today, and got it turned down several times. I've told this, and I'm not telling it where it would hurt anybody's feelings, and not meaning any disrespect. But Billy Grammer, I pitched it to him. I thought, well, he could do a song like that. And he said, I just did a mama song in my album. And this, of course, had mama in it. And I pitched it to, I pitched it finally around, I wanted Bobby Braddock. I wanted Bobby Braddock to sing it.
You don't want that.
But he was outstanding in his field.
Somewhere.
But anyhow, Bobby Bear did a lot of recitation type songs. So I pitched it to Chet, and he kept it. Chet liked it and kept it for Bobby. But when Bobby cut, he didn't record it. So there you are. You've been hoping and praying that he had cut it. So anyhow, Johnny Darrell worked as a Holiday Inn down here as a manager on West End. Kelso was going to produce him on a session, and he was a big Bobby Bear fan, so he wanted that type song. He said, Bobby, how about me having this Green Grass of Home song? And Bobby said, well, go ahead. I didn't get to cut it. And so Kelso, of course, knew the song because he had helped me demo it. So that was Johnny's first record, so he demoed it and put it out as his first single. And it really started people calling me up and saying, is that your song? And
Didn't you have 3 or 4 versions of it in the charts?
And then it got covered about 3 times, right, just immediately.
First year.
And then I remember, I was trying to think who all were going. But anyhow, Jerry Lee finally cut
Porter did it, I think.
Porter
Jerry
covered.
Lee, and then Tom.
Tom heard Jerry Lee, and of course he was a big fan of Jerry Lee, and so. But they didn't want him to do it because it was too country, you know. And Red, the guy that worked for Elvis, said that
Red West.
Elvis loved the song, but they didn't want him to do it because it was too country. And so that's kind of what you had.
But Bear ended up doing it. Elvis ended up doing it eventually.
Eventually. And
Over
so
700 times.
So it's been recorded in every language you can imagine, and some of them are I've got a bunch of the 45s.
Do you have your original demo?
Yeah, I got it.
Right.
I don't have it with me. In the shade of that old oak tree, as they lay me 'neath the green